You're a doer. You show up and give 178,000% no matter what else is happening in your life. Sure, it's not always easy, but it's what you do, and you've come to expect that of yourself. So why can't other people show up and put the work in too? Am I right? Maybe, but maybe not. Hello, listeners, and welcome to another solo episode of the Untethering Shame podcast. I'm your host, Kira Wackett, and today I want to talk about that resentment I and many of you have against the people around you. You know, where you feel like you're doing it all and no one is trying as hard or doing as much as you. My favorite tell for when I get into this headspace is they, now I don't know who they is most of the time, but they have no idea just how much I do. Whew, that's an intense statement. And I know many of you can relate to that same thought, even if you hate to admit it. But the reality is, the only choice we have here is to learn to let go of that thought rather than be driven by it. See, the choices we make and how much we give of ourselves, time, money, and energy, is our choice. And the investment others make is theirs. Sure, you can say that subjectively, you may do more or try harder than someone else. But the key here is that this is a subjective and reductive interpretation. Are you actually doing more than them? And if so, why? Have you considered the context of their full lives against your own? Do you share the same values and priorities? What does it mean about you or them if they invest less than you do in this area? I love the quote from Anne Lamott, "Expectations are resentments waiting to happen." When we expect people to operate at a certain level, and more specifically at that level while in a given area or role, we're projecting our own values, shame, and pressure onto them. And inevitably, the only place that takes us to is resentment. We build cases for why others are lazy, don't deserve promotions, aren't committed enough, and further our story that we're the one who does it all. We're put upon, taken advantage of, and in a shame-coded way, the best. Because we burn ourselves out to do and be it all, and they don't. Now, I want you to sit with this for a minute. I want you to think about what comes up for you as you hear me saying this. Do you get that same unsettling feeling in your belly as I do? And how interesting is it that our shame misplaces our frustration on others for them not doing as much as we do, instead of allowing us to check in with why we feel we have to give so much in the first place and what it would mean if we didn't. Now, going back to this idea, 100% is a subjective interpretation that varies not just between people, but within ourselves in any given day, role, or time. We live in a world that promotes doing and output over being. We've conflated burnout to be seen as a sign of commitment instead of finding a 100% in balancing our values, wants, and available resources. And it's time we stop playing that game. Instead, could we just take a minute and all agree that first, everyone has different values and priorities. How they and we choose to invest in them is our own choice to make. 2, we can't live on borrowed time or energy. Making a choice to give a gazillion% is only setting you up to fall and fall hard. And it's not fair to get upset with other people because they aren't making that same choice or walking into that same outcome. Third, we're not lowering our expectations by only giving 100%. We're taking back control and sticking to the math in how we design our lives. 4, it's not possible to give 100% to everything in our lives. We live in a balanced state between all roles and responsibilities. And depending on our mental, emotional, and physical state in a given day or moment, we may have to allocate less resources to these areas to show up for our bodies. And 5, the only person who has to live our lives is us. And the only life we get to lead is ours. So let's stop focusing time on what everyone else is or isn't doing and align our thoughts, feelings, actions, and connections with the values, wants, and goals we have for our own. All right, as we wrap today, let's agree to release this pressure on ourselves and others. I want you to think about and name something that you're going to leave behind. How might letting go of this tension make your life easier or more open and in balance? And pay attention. What resistance do you notice as you consider giving up some of these thoughts? Now, I want to thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope you found this little nugget valuable. I'd love to hear from you, everything and anything that came up. So be sure to check out the Q&A, fill out the poll, or send me a voice memo so that we can connect and I can continue to support you in this work. If you found today's episode valuable and insightful, I encourage you to subscribe, leave a review, hit that 5-star button, and of course, please share this episode with someone that you think could benefit from hearing it. And if you're ready to take that next step in your own shame resilience journey from podcast to deeper dive, be sure to click the link in the show notes and download my free handout, 5 things shame resilient people do every day and 3 things they don't. Finally, if you're looking for more ways to connect, you'll find links to my website, YouTube channel, and so much more down in the show notes. You can also set up a discovery call with me if you want to go over any questions you have about program offerings or next steps in your shame resilience journey. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. And remember, change takes time, but every step counts. So stay the course, stay hopeful, and stay committed to your well-being. We'll be back with more insightful discussions to support you on your journey. Until then, take care, and we'll catch you next episode.